watching it, I think you should hop on over Facebook and YouTube at WFM99SVG. This is a documentary, a little video that was done by Mr. Jamali Jack, and it's a story about the turtle sanctuary in Bequia. All right, it's a really interesting story. So do take a listen or take a watch. If you can't see our WhatsApp statuses, I'm going to post the link in the WhatsApp status right now. Technically speaking, I'm going to cross my fingers.
Boma B. Boma as in Boma, the country. And I'm telling you why D. Most of the owners were Davises. The name of Boma D. Yes. I think she was 85 feet long, you know. In those days, they were island schooners trading. So that is how I got the man in the first place. There was not a crew on the boat. I wasn't supposed to be there. There were 7 of us. And I was down in my cabin when I heard big stones and drums of water. Next thing the boat was upside down. It didn't just sink, it turned upside down. And the bottom of the ship was above the water, floating for a long, long time. I swam for 2 days. I had a cabin door. That's out in the ocean, hundreds of feet deep. This thing is amazing to me, it's puzzling to me, because I was the only survivor.
Snippet. My name is Autumn Graham King. My nickname is Brother King. I was born on the 16th of October 1938 in Port Elizabeth, Bequia. Well, it was my father and my mother, 2 sisters, and 3 other brothers. I am the one before the last. Yeah, I was the baby for a while. My younger brother never came until about 8 years after me. I have a family. My wife and I, we have 1 daughter and 2 sons. And then I raised a young nephew and a young niece as my children. And then my daughter, she has 3 children. Yeah. When I was growing up as a young boy, you have animals like goats and sheep and cows and things, and I had all of that. My home was right next to the sea. Across the road, across the beach into the sea. And I, as a little fellow, used to go swimming every morning early before we go to school. Then I couldn't swim. And a little fellow took me and carried me out in the deep and let me go. And then I had to make my own way to the beach to swim. And that was my first lesson in swimming. After that, I became a professional. In those days, they were island schooners trading, like from Trinidad to Martinique, from Trinidad to Barbados and so forth. And I had never been to Martinique, but my father asked me to go on the ship as I was going to Martinique with a load of bitumen. So that is how I got to Martinique in the first place. Actually, the captain then was not supposed to be on it because it was his brother that was the captain of it. When the brother came from Trinidad, passing through to go to Martinique, the brother stayed off and sent his brother in his place just for the trip. I was not supposed to be there. I just went for the trip. because the guy who ran the engine stayed off, and my father sent me because I knew how to run the engine, and I wasn't supposed to be there. There were 7 of us. 1 girl from St. Lucia, 1 girl from Martinique, and the 5 of us from Bequia. Between St. Lucia and Martinique, the boat had an engine. All it needed was the middle piece of sail called a foresail to steady it, you know. They were not supposed to hoist the biggest piece of sail called the mainsail. Well, they had an argument whether they should raise the mainsail or not. And the captain was also a part owner of the ship, so he should have a firm hand. The main captain to say, I say so, you do so. You're not going to hoist that big piece of sail, I say so. But had a big argument, man pulled knife and all kind of thing. And then the owner went in his bunk to sleep. That was foolish. He should have stayed out on the deck to control these crazy people. They hoisted the sail, which is the main sail. And it wasn't 10 minutes after. A gust of wind came down. It was before morning, you know. A gust of wind came down, and I think it was what they call a water spout. A water spout is similar to a tornado, you know, and it's very powerful. And I was down in my cabin when I heard. We used to take big stones as ballast when you take out your cargo. Big stones and drums of water. And I heard these things begin to roll and tumble. I said, well, we're going upside down. Yeah. And nobody to attend to the sail. Next thing the boat was upside down. Turned over. It didn't just sink, it turned upside down. And the bottom of the ship was above the water, floating. It floated upside down for a long, long time. Yeah. You know? So that happened because of lack of communication, lack of cooperation, because they were not supposed to hoist the biggest piece of sail called the mainsail. When the boat turned upside down and floated, we all climbed up on it and sat on the keel, you know, to just rest up and wait to see what can happen. And when we got there, most of them started crying. I said, don't cry. This is a situation you have to be brave. I say, you all come, kneel down here by the keel, and I will pray. And I prayed, an honest prayer that God would save us. But I knew that the boat was going to sink. It just took time, you know. And then when the boat leaned over, all the air came out of it, and the boat came up, right up and sank, you know, and left us on the water. Even the lifeboat was mashed up. You know, the lifeboat wasn't any good. And when I was swimming with the mate, and he told me, my nickname is Brother. He said, brother, you are going to make it. He said, you are the only one going to make it. Because while he was swimming next to me on a piece of board, I'm talking and he's not there. He's gone to sleep and drop back behind. So he told me, don't waste time to wait on me. He said, I am not going to make it. You are going to make it. So just keep on swimming. You know, it broke my heart to know that I just had to leave in there, you know. Fright kills people sometimes. They're afraid, they're afraid, they're afraid. There was a guy on that boat from Patrick Farm Bequia who was sailing on that boat for 14 years. And he was the first one to drown. But the others, I swam away from them because I took up little pieces of wooden thing, give to them, so they could float in it and don't sink. And I never saw any of them again. I never saw any of them again. That's out in the ocean, man. That's hundreds of feet deep. I swam for 2 days. I had a little piece of board, a cabin door to float myself on. And I used that to float and to swim. It was the end of the first day because I started swimming just before midday, and when night came, I was floating on this piece of board and my mind ran on shark. And as soon as my mind ran on shark, because it got dark, I saw these lights passing underneath. You know, the ocean is full of phosphorus, and you can see it more in the night. When I closed my eyes, because I was thinking of a shark, and I thought this thing was a shark, I closed my eyes and said, Lord, this is the end of me now. And in a couple of seconds, I heard in front of me, say, no, it's dolphin, and I'm safe. Because as long as they're around me, no shark is going to come, you know? So that dulled down on my fright, you know? I swam all day, all night, and next day now, I was still swimming, and I became very hungry, and a swarm of little fish got between the piece of board that I had and me, and bigger fish was passing between me and the board at the little fish, and I put my hand as careful as I could down through the fish and grabbed a bunch of them in my hand, and then I threw them in my mouth and I chewed them up, and when I chewed them up, that I spat it out, a booby board landed on my head to dive down and pick up what I spit out. You know, I tried my best to grab the booby board because I was eating that, you know, but it was too quick for me. The other way, I got thirsty, and a heavy shower of rain came down, and I put my head up and opened my mouth, and those few drizzles of rain that went in my mouth tasted so good. It satisfied me, man. I was hoping that the rain would fall longer, but there was a little bit of water that I got from that. It revived me, yeah, because all the time it was salt water. I tried every skill, everything I could think about, I tried, you know. When I was young and strong, and I didn't have the thought of drowning or dying, you know. I was on the surface of the water, floating this piece of board, and swim with it. I'll take this piece of board along like that, and wide so, and I push it away in front of me, and swim towards it, and push it and swim towards it. Exercise, huh? Yeah. Everything I could think about, I tried. Yeah. I'm here today because I tried. And on the evening of the second day, I managed to get close to the beach in Martinique, and fishermen on the beach getting their boats ready for the summer ahead. and thought it was a turtle. And they got in their boat and came out, and it wasn't a turtle, it was me. They picked me up. This thing is amazing to me, it's puzzling to me, because when they got there, they met me floating unconscious. How could I float unconscious and don't sink? You know? It was a miracle. It was. I was the only survivor. I was the only survivor. I was born raw. I was blistered like fresh beef. So I needed special care. The two doctors that attended to me when I went to the hospital said they never had a case like that. They had cases with fire and hot water and so, but sunburn, they never deal with it. After that, 36 days, my whole life has changed. I built a boat, 44 feet long, twin screw, 2 engines, and started buying fish with a manic because I had so many friends there. People who visited me in the hospital and so, you know, and it's then that I made a trade out of it. Yeah, I'll give you a story. When the 3 guys came out in their canoe to pick me up, it was 2 men and a boy. And many years after, when I started doing a trade to Martinique to sell fish in my boat, my friend in Martinique was the journalist, the reporter, and he interviewed me and he wrote it in the Sunday morning newspaper. Now, those people thought it had just happened, you know? And then when I went back to Martinique, this young man come to me and said, "King, I was a little boy in the boat when they picked you up." Boy, he knocked tears from my eyes. You know, let's go look at that. A little boy jumped in the boat with them. He's a big man now coming to buy my fish to make a living, and could tell me, as he saw the newspaper, he was a little boy. It was me. You know? And now that I'm doing this, I say, well, look at that, God is a good God. He inspired people to come out to look for a turtle. Now I'm saved, I'm saving turtles, you know. Coming back to Bequia until I started turtles was a long space, you know, because I went back to my profession, fishing and diving, you know. Before I did that, for my skin to toughen up, I took over this whole plantation on here, spring and industry. The owner was sick and he turned it over to me to take care of the plantation, you know. I spent a couple of years there to toughen up, so that when I go back diving, I won't blister and so, you know. And when I thought I was tough enough, I was young, I went back to my diving. Yeah. This turtle thing, I had finished with the sea. I had finished with diving and fishing and boating, and there was nothing out here, like no house. And I have children and grandchildren. And then my wife's brother, he has children, and I had brought home a big tent from America. And I put up the tent here to camp out here. That road was not there. It was an old stony pothole plantation road. Yeah, and one night in my tent I was alone, and I felt like drizzles of rain on my feet. I was right down near to the front of the tent. And thinking it's rain, I pulled away from my feet getting wet. The next morning I got up, it was not rain. It was a turtle that been digging there and putting her eggs. You know, I never saw that before. That was my first experience with a turtle laying eggs. And I took a little thin piece of stick to poke it in the sand, and I broke an egg. And I realized that the turtle had laid the eggs. Well, I didn't remove them. I left them there, not knowing how long it takes for them to hatch. And one afternoon at sunset, I was coming out of the tent and I saw the sand moving. And I said to myself, that's life. Those are the babies coming out there. So I got outside and those little things came to the surface and headed to the sea. I mean, like lightning speed. And there was a little basin with water in it. And I picked up a few and put it in the basin, and that's how I started. Yeah. I didn't have no thought of this big building and these tanks and so forth. I started in a basin, a small black basin. I used to have to bring water from the sea to change the water with the babies with a bucket. This was my first tank. And after I had so many, and they were biting each other, I built this tank, and I built those small rooms to put the damaged ones in, that I could treat them. This is a hawk's bill. Look at the beak. The beak is like a hawk. Hawk's bill. And this is the only colorful turtle in the world, you know. Of all the turtles, this is the only one with color. It's a pretty one. Turtles live to be 150 years. 150 years. The oldest turtle is that one. The one with all the shell on the back. Rough, much up in the corner here. And then you have a little baby down there. Every year, the Cannon hotels want me to bring turtles for their guests to see. Because when they get there, they have some very deep beaches, and the turtle will take a while to get to the sea. So you put it down as high up as you could on the sand, and it goes into the sea. And people like that. And I keep telling the people at the hotels that for the many years I've been putting back turtles, soon the females are going to come back there. That is going to be a turtle beach in the future. This is a good big batch, you know. I have these here, I have some of these here, and I have some down there. So I have of this size, about 60. Yeah. This is one of the main things in Bequia for tourists to visit. I have had a captain from a small cruise ship who told me he only drops in here because of the tourist sanctuary. In that way, it takes things to attract tourists. When tourists come to these islands or these reefs, they want to go into the reef to dive, to see what we have. And when they see one turtle, that's a big thing for them. You know, I'm saying that I'm not ridiculing the government, but you have to have something to attract tourists, you know, to make money. Because when a tourist go out there and see a turtle, they're going to spread the news, and people are going to come, and people are going to want to see turtles. I have a sign there for the entrance fee at $15 each, you know, and I have children free. And I have a sign to say, don't touch the babies. And now I didn't make that sign. I asked the people in Simmons Pantry to make a sign for me, for people not to touch the turtles, you know. People come to visit me from universities and so forth, but they're not trained in turtle business. I'm getting old, and one day I might have to stop but I'm training people to do as good as I can do. You know, now people, it belongs to me. And I will have a, a certain expression when I'm talking about this. But if I train people to run this, they won't have that expression. But then I have trained quite a few people to do this. The young man I have here now, he is new. He just came now for 2 weeks. And I'm training him. I'm teaching him how to talk to people. Be polite and courteous. You know? You just need a strong man to pump water and things like that. Yeah. The rest of it is in the hands of God. How long I will live or how soon I'll die, that's up to God.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. I thought it was an interesting conversation or an interesting interview on, I don't know if you know about the Turtle Sanctuary in Bequia. All right. It's quite an interesting setup. I went there once or twice to see, and they explain things quite well to you. All right. And I don't know if you also remember our discussion last week on endangered species, with the turtle being one of them. Now, yes, thank you so much for listening. Somebody's asking if he's from the South Side. I think he mentioned where he was from in there, but I mean, sometimes it only takes one person, regardless of where you are from, to do something different and meaningful for yourself, your community, your country, and perhaps the rest of the world. All right, I'm going to take this time to officially sign out. Thank you so much for joining us today. Join